Welcome back to Quadrant for Politics. My name is Riley, and I'm here with my co-host Matt. Say hello, Matt.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
Good deal. Welcome back to our show. Of course, you can email us at the email quadrant4politics@gmail.com, and that's the number 4 not spelled out. Also, don't forget you can catch this show on YouTube for the video version. I mean, it's pretty much just the audio version, but if you prefer YouTube, it's there, but it's also available on most major podcast streaming services like Spotify, Google, Apple, and Anchor. So check us out there. Anyways, without further ado, Matt, do you want to jump into our questions?
Jumping into the questions.
Good deal. So Matt is pulling a question from the Political Compass Test. If you guys are interested in taking this, you can find it. Just search Political Compass Test on Google, and you'll find it pretty easy. We don't condone this test, I'd say, but it's fun to answer these questions, as we always say.
And the whole up, down, left, right part, we can get behind. But...
Hold on, before we begin, I'm going to scoot in just a little bit closer here. But also, what was with the Political Compass Test that, like, on the bottom, was it still libertarian? On the one that the new one?
It was...
It was left and right, and then libertarian and communitarian or something?
Something, yeah. And I don't think it said libertarian, it said something else. But
what did it say?
I don't know. I just know I ended up as libertarian.
It was awful. It was an awful political
Well, but
compass.
like I said, that's how they do them in Europe.
That's crazy.
Or that's how people see politics.
And I don't understand the left and right. Is left and right, does that mean the same thing in Europe? Like, in Europe, are people on the right, like, anti-abortion, pro-guns, and stuff like that?
It's a smaller amount, I think.
But there's still, like, people who are like that would
still...
still be considered on the right over there?
Yeah, but they just have a different left and different labels. I don't know. Research it yourself.
I should. Anyways, what's the question?
Sex outside of marriage is usually immoral.
Have we seen this one before?
I don't think so.
All right. 4 answers: strongly disagree, disagree, agree, and strongly agree. Sex outside of marriage is usually immoral. Matt, what do you think of this one? You're a big fan of this question?
Sex outside of marriage is usually immoral. I would say agree.
Wow, really?
Yes.
You think premarital sex is wrong?
I think it's usually wrong because... So here's the whole thing, is that used to be there wasn't this concept of adolescence that there is now. So people are 13, 14, or whatever, and it's like you weren't in this in-between phase of boy and girl versus man and woman. You were just... You went from being a child to being an adult, and it made things a little bit easier because if you were screwing around outside of that, then it was like, you were just somebody who wasn't in control or whatever. But now it's like you got people still with the hormones of an adult living in this stage of adolescence, which is more or less a new thing. And so you've seen, like, the marriage rates are going down, the age of marriage is going up, and people are, I would say, mostly not making good sexual choices, which is why STDs are up, fatherless pregnancies are up.
But this question, like, I can agree with you. Like, I hear stories about kids in middle school giving blowjobs in the bathroom and stuff like that. And when I was in middle school, I was not ready for that stuff, I was still, watching Ninja Turtles, playing video games and stuff. If a girl came up to me and was like, "Let me suck your dick," I'd be like, "I have no idea what any of those words you just said to me are,"
What is a dick?
Like the thing on the front of my body was just to pee. But this...
In middle school, really?
I mean, no, I didn't masturbate in middle school. Did you masturbate in middle school?
I mean...
I must have been a late bloomer, maybe.
I think you were, based on what you've said, both personally and on other shows, you were a late bloomer. Not like super late, like...
Well...
The fact that
maybe that just means I'm better than you because I waited longer.
You probably are a better person. But and I'm not saying I'm, a virgining flower or whatever that word is. But my point is just that sex outside of marriage is pretty much, or sex outside of somebody you're going to be with for a long time is pretty much just for immediate pleasure purposes, like one night stands
So
and
do you
whatnot.
think if you're in a long-term relationship with someone you love, but you're not married to them, do you think it's immoral to have sex in that relationship?
Mm, I think perhaps from where I come
And
from
this isn't asking about Christianity. This is
that's
asking about
why I was going to say
morality.
perhaps where I come from a religious standpoint, it's
Yeah.
immoral. I would say it's more moral overall if you're with somebody long term, and it's like there's degrees to everything. There's a spectrum, and I think on one side of a spectrum is somebody having a one night stand with a different person every day of the week and getting STDs, giving STDs, getting people pregnant. Um, and then on the other side, there's people having sex within marriage. And I would say monogamous sex with the same person outside of marriage probably falls closer to the marriage side than the one side. But that's so I guess it depends on how we define marriage here. So, but I mean, when you say, "Oh, we're not talking about Christianity here," well, obviously we kind of are because we're bringing up that.
Morality and religion kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, and the fact is they wouldn't have if they didn't want it to be a little bit religious. They wouldn't have phrased it that way. They would have said, "Is it would have been a question more about what constitutes immoral sex or whatnot."
Yeah.
So,
I would say sex outside of marriage is usually immoral. I would strongly disagree with that statement. Um, because I'm a libertarian and I'm also all for people having rights and being able to do the things that they want to do. Um, Morality is something that's really hard to debate or even discuss because everyone kind of has their own sense of morals, and I think there's only like a few things. Like that's why I'm a libertarian, is because there's only a few things that we can all agree on that are bad. Stealing is bad, murder is bad, and that's the only thing I think that government should be stopping. Everything else is in that morally gray area that some people like and some people don't like, and that's why I disagree with, like, I call it government overreach, is because they're reaching into other people's rights just because other people tell them to. So,
yeah, if the question was sex outside of marriage should be illegal, I would say strongly disagree.
but
That wasn't the question,
no,
though.
for sure. And my personal opinion on this is, um, I don't think it's immoral, but I do think people can get hurt from it, and I think there's ways to handle it right. And I think there are a lot of people out there who don't handle it right, they view sex without any emotion at all, and they're just out there, either spreading diseases like you said, or just causing a lot of problems, making people cheat on their significant others, having unwanted babies, that kind of thing. For me, myself, in my early 20s, I was very promiscuous. I was a huge man slut for sure. And I may have hurt some girls' feelings during that time. I don't deny that they were probably more interested in me than I was interested in them. But that was also something I needed for my own development to find out what I wanted in a long-term relationship. Like I feel like that was part of my character progression, if you will, to understand, like, I needed those experiences to find out what I wanted for the long term, because if I was with my first girlfriend from high school, I would have never experienced those other things, and I would have either been unhappy or I would have eventually cheated on her because I wanted to know what those other things were like. But now that I've had those experiences, and I had my ups and downs along the way, now I'm in a better place now because I've grown personally. So I'm not telling people that you need to just go around and be a man slut with everyone, but it's also, I think, exploration of your sexuality is good for your health in the long run, as long as you're smart and safe about it, and you're not intentionally hurting people's feelings.
Well, yeah, and bad bad decisions you make in the past can hurt people and still make you a better person, and that's just goes along the lines of life's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it works, and I've done things that have hurt other people, and I've grown from it, and maybe the other person's recovered, maybe they haven't. But that's kind of the personal responsibility of it. Is we can be victims or we can be victors,
Mm-hmm.
and we each have to take responsibility for ourselves, and that includes the bad things that have happened for us. We can't sit and sulk and this person ruined my life. So anyway,
cool. Want to move on to the next question?
Next question.
Cool. Do you want to do one from this? You want to do one from this one?
Yeah.
This is from the I side with test. Again, these questions are randomly chosen. We printed them out, cut them up, put them in a bag, and randomly selected them. Matt is the master teabagger. He likes putting his fist in there and pulling it out.
Did you ever take this test, or?
I did a long time ago, but I don't remember my results. I think I took it for the 2016 election.
Yeah, I'm like 70%.
I'm not like you who takes it once a month.
Shut the. I'm like, well, it changes because you can take newer questions, but then your old questions are still valid. So.
Interesting.
And it changes also like based on how the candidates change.
I think the perfect political compass test covers, like, it has one question for every important subject to find out where you belong. This one's too long, and I especially don't like that. Like, you can click more answers, and then you can click even more answers, and then there's just like a whole list of things.
The importance of them.
Yeah, it's just.
But
way
that's
too
why
much.
that's what gets it like such precise answers, because
Yeah,
if it was just like if criminal justice was the answer and they just said, how do you feel about the death penalty, I'd be a little pansy liberal, which actually when it comes to criminal justice it still said you are a pansy liberal, but I'm a little bit more liberal on criminal justice and on other issues. But anyway, my point is like, that's not the same as like, do you think all crime should be legal, so
I think you're in line with most conservatives on criminal justice. I think that party is really switching over. It's not really something that's talked about a whole lot in the news, but I think that especially with Trump and what he's been doing with Kim Kardashian and stuff, I think a lot of Republicans are coming over on that. And there's not even like, I don't see a whole lot of praise for the death penalty out there. Like, it still exists, but I feel like it's not talked about very often. I don't see people defending it. Like, abortion is a highly debated topic on the internet, but you never see people talking about the death penalty, at least in my realm of people. Well, I try to reach outside of that,
and the death penalty is totally different because you're not talking about people who are completely innocent, and you're also talking about something that happens 1,000 times a year in the U.S. Or no, sorry, like 100 times a year in the U.S. Like, the U.S. doesn't execute that many people, but we spend tons of money on the program and on the system, and then when a state goes to execute somebody, they're like, we forgot how, we don't have the chemicals, So it's just a really shoddy program that I think lots of people are starting to see through. So anyway, here's the question: should the United States pull all military troops out of Afghanistan?
What's the recent update on this? You pay attention to the news.
I read something recently that said the U.S. signed a peace treaty with the Taliban, which seems kind of weird. Because, and it said, like, we're going to be out of, like, completely removed from Afghanistan within 14 months. I don't know. So I watched this show called The Orville, right?
Yeah.
And there's this okay, so the aliens are called the Krill. They're the bad guys. And they sign a peace treaty with them, even though there's been all this bloodshed on both sides. And one of the guys, the episode's called like Blood of Patriots or something, and one of the guys has escaped after being in a prison of war from the Krill for 20 years. And he's like, screw this peace treaty, it's spitting in the face of everybody who's died. It's saying, like, we say those deaths are acceptable,
Mm-hmm.
And so signing a peace treaty with the Taliban's kind of weird, but maybe it's the natural progression, maybe it's just how things have to be after a while.
Yeah.
I mean, when we talk about the war on terrorism, the actual war on terrorism, like the one from, that was approved like on September 12th, 2001, that war on terrorism, like, obviously I think it was a proper reaction, because no reaction wouldn't have been appropriate when planes are flight into our building, but and 3,000 people die. But maybe 20 years almost is enough time to say, it's time to pull the troops out, and you can't really defeat an ideology, you know? Like,
Yeah.
you just have to wait for that stuff to evolve. So, I mean, I would say, should the United States pull all military troops out of Afghanistan? That word all makes me uncomfortable. But by and large, my answer, I think what I did is I clicked more stances and it said no, but severely reduce the number of troops we have in Afghanistan, and I think that was my answer. So if I had to answer based just yes or no, I guess I would say yes.
See, should the United States pull out all military troops out of Afghanistan? I absolutely say yes on this one. I don't think that we need to be the world police. I don't think it's our job to have a military outpost in every country in the world. I'm mostly an isolationist. I don't want to be involved in other people's problems. Our country is first. I think we should be our main priority. I don't think that we need... we have so much struggle in our own country. I don't think we should be spending our tax dollars on other people. Now, obviously, with the 9/11, I think that it was right for us to go and kill the people who did that. But what has been going on with this war on terror is way worse than that, Like, we should just had, like, SEAL Team 6, some elite snipers or some shit go and take out the head honcho people of the terrorist organization who did it and then gotten out of there. I don't think there's any reason for us to be there.
But whenever you get rid of a head honcho, another one rises, as long as you have people within the...
Well, if it's we get back the people who did it to us, and we say, if you commit an act of terror like this to us, we're gonna, end your life quickly and easily,
Fire and fury.
Well, I'm not saying, like, we're not bombing their country, I'm saying go in and take out the elite people with, or the top people with some elite snipers, that kind of shit. Like, send the people in there who know what they're doing, and take out the people who are the problem, and then let the rest of the world know, hey, if you fuck with us, we're gonna figure it out.
So it is important to flex our muscles, right?
Yeah, I mean, if someone attacks us, I absolutely think that they need the retaliation. But something like this, the war on terror, is just a waste of money. It was poorly organized. The whole thing was awful. We've lost so many troops in it. It's like it should have just been a quick and easy thing.
Well, that's if you're combining, like, Iraq with it.
Yeah.
So it depends. If you talk about everything in the Middle East, which I don't think this question is, it says out of Afghanistan. And when we think of Afghanistan, we think of 9/11.
Well, this question isn't even talking about the war on terror, and so.
Well, that's true. It's talking about Afghanistan, and I mean the lines kind of get blurred at where is the terrorism within the Middle East. So, are we pulling out all the troops not relevant to the war on terrorism? I think the question is kind of leaves more to be desired out of the question. Like in what context? But I would say we probably have enough in the Middle East right now. We could start lowering those numbers.
Yeah, I don't see there's any reason for us to be policing the entire world,
Flex those muscles, buddy.
Yeah, but that's flexing them too much, because now you're costing us money,
Flex.
And that's a lot of money and resources spent on stuff that could be spent on, taking care of our own citizens or not taxing the people, Like, all that money spent over there could go back into our pockets. And I'd like that. I'd rather have money to spend right here and now than funding some endless war in Iraq.
Plus, if it's about oil, like all the commies cry about, then we can just get our own oil here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the best way to figure out oil is to, research and develop new sources of energy, find our own oil here, or have a free trade system with someone who does have oil.
Yeah, that's all fine. But until we make the new alternative fuel, we need oil.
That was one out of the three things I mentioned.
Shut up.
We have oil in our own country, and we can have free trade systems with other countries who do have oil.
Okay,
and,
but I'm just saying we need to just pump the crap out of the oil.
Also, we need to stop subsidizing oil. That's a whole other conversation.
But... Well, it is, but we need to not be selling it to other countries and then buying it from countries.
Let
me just tell you. Can I just tell you how frustrating that is? Because then we wouldn't have to have this conflict, because we have plenty of oil here. It's just we're worried about penguins or something stupid like that. So,
I don't know.
Environmentalist. I think they're the answer to all this. But anyway, next question.
Should the United States pull out military troops out of Afghanistan? The fucking environmentalists, man.
That's what it comes down to. Fuck the environmentalists.
Yeah,
all right.
let's do more. Which one do you want to do?
Let's do another I side with.
Okay.
Alrighty, here we go.
We're just burning through these questions, man.
I know, and they're like,
How long was that test I sent you? The one with the weird compass?
Oh, not very. It was like 35 questions, maybe.
Should I print those ones out and cut them up?
Why don't we get through these? But you should take it yourself. So
I will.
You can
at some point.
You should just do it.
Maybe we'll have an episode where I do it, and then you can like talk about my answers while I'm doing it.
That's a fun idea.
It might take way too long.
No, just don't dick around. You get 1 minute per question. That's plenty of time.
Yeah, I guess.
And you just don't dick around.
All right.
Or we could discuss each question, change each other's mind, and see what the two of us, as
well,
one
that's pretty
person.
much what we're doing right now.
Well, yeah, but we don't get to see what the final result is.
That's true. I don't know, maybe we have a super fan out there who's keeping track of everything. Dude, that'd be so cool. If we have a super fan, let us know. We'll let you on the show. We'll fly you out here.
We will
pay for your ticket.
Riley will pay for your ticket to come out of here. All right, another I side with. Should every 18-year-old citizen be required to provide at least 1 year of military service? Yes or no?
This is a big no for me. Can
That's
I read
a big fat no for me as well.
Should every 18-year-old citizen be required to provide at least 1 year of military service? No. And
good riddance, Pete Buttigieg. You are gone. You are out of this contest.
Did he want that?
Yes, he did.
Oh, he did. I didn't know
that.
I did not know that. That's news to me.
Unless I'm quoting somebody else, but I'm pretty sure. I'm like 97% sure it was Pete Buttigieg.
I obviously disagree with this because I think the government forcing anyone to do anything is wrong, but also I think that I'm a libertarian.
That's how every Seriously, dude. Every question.
Libertarian conventions are just a bunch of retards talking to each other.
Just government bad. We do it ourselves. Like, oh god, that'd be great when these people are running things.
At least I can laugh at myself. But I was also going to say there's plenty of incentive for people to join the military right now. Yeah, in low income or in when the economy goes bad, the military does real well with personnel, so there's no reason to really force people to go in there, you know.
You know what's fun to do is look at when they had the draft in 1970. Look at where your birth date falls, and I think I actually already did this for both you and I. They because what they do is they pull by birth date, and so they have 366 like lottery balls with every birth date on it possible. The first birthday pulled was like September 14th. So pretty much if you're born September 14th, you're going to die in Vietnam.
Oh wow.
And I was number 35. You were number something way after that, but yeah.
Wow.
I was just
That's how they did the draft?
Yeah, and I first knew about it because my 11th grade history teacher told me how he was born. It was December something, and he was like, yeah, I was like number 350, blah, blah, blah. Which, what, didn't Donald Trump, like, don't people make fun of him for dodging the draft or whatever?
Yeah.
Because he was number 356, because it showed famous people's birthday. And if you're the 356th birthday out of 365, you're not going to, Vietnam. It wasn't any more than like the
He
top.
still dodged it, though. It's a disrespectful thing to do.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. My point is, why would he have even been called if his birthday was so low? I don't know. If somebody can explain that to us, because obviously I didn't do a whole bunch of research.
Are you saying, like, why did he put in the effort to dodge it?
Or was he even called, like, how would he have even been called if his birthday was so low on a lottery that...
Did they go through all of those?
They pulled every birthday in order.
Yeah.
And it was like... And I think I looked at all my siblings, and one of my brother was like, I think number 2, so whatever was after September 14th. His birthday is April 24th. Anyway, my point is that, like, he'd have been gone, but if you're number 356, like, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'd have to look more into the
Maybe he just avoided the draft before his birthday was
Before
pulled.
the draft, yeah, maybe before... Like they pulled.
Like as soon as they announced the draft, he went to the doctor and was like, "Yo,
splint chance.
say I have bone spurs."
Exactly.
Bone spurs.
Bone spurs.
When I think of bone spurs, I think of like spurs on boots, but you just have like these grotesque bone spurs that are like coming out of the back of your ankle. Like I have no idea what bone spurs are, so I just
Maybe
imagine
one day we'll really see his ankles and feel bad for him. Like,
I bet he has really gross ankles.
Anyway, so we weren't really talking about the draft, but no,
Yeah.
obviously, this is a big fat no for me. I think there's, like you said, there's incentive, and also not just the economy, but if, like, let's say America faces another attack,
people show patriotism.
you have the patriotic people who say, "Sign me up, let's go kill those effers."
But me, being a libertarian, with my retard modes, we obviously think that there shouldn't be as much. Well, I don't know. Me personally, it's something I still need to talk about. I'm not sure what the Libertarian Party's stance on it officially is, but there's a lot of, the anarcho-capitalist libertarians obviously say, well, they don't believe in a public military anyways. I don't know. I was just going to say, for me personally, should the people in the military have all the benefits that they do? And I don't know. I think that's something...
like a pretty high risk job.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on what you're doing, because some people go to the military and they sit behind a computer.
Yeah.
But either way, it's like the top way to serve your country.
Yeah.
And I don't.
You get VA benefits for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was a fun episode.
Do you want to do another one?
Oh, sure. Yeah. We're only at. We're not too long in. So, let's do another eye sideways.
Wow, you almost said the time yourself. You're getting mad at me for that.
We are just speeding through these questions. Let's find a real fun one in here. Yeah. I thought the whole sex was immoral thing was going to be like 5 hours.
The whole episode?
But I think, I think people's views are just kind of like calming down in some respects, on things like
sex
drugs.
Outside of marriage is so low on the totem pole of crazy shit we're talking about.
Exactly.
Right now.
It's like we're talking
child
about bigger
drag
issues.
queens and stuff like that.
Yeah, child drag queen. Let's see. Okay. Question: do you support child drag queens? Here we are. All right, now. All authority should be questioned.
Ooh, is that the question?
That's the question, or that's the statement.
The statement. All authority should be questioned. I strongly agree with that one. What do you think?
I agree with that.
That's good.
I think it should be questioned, but I think it should also, once you've questioned it, most of the time it should be followed.
Oh, yeah, of course. But that's not what it says, just question.
You should question everything. Otherwise, you don't ever... This is my problem with society and people today, is nobody thinks... What's the word I'm about
themselves?
to say? No. Nobody starts with a C.
About Christ?
Okay, well, that's another problem. But nobody thinks critically.
Critically, oh.
Critical thinking is gone. Like, it's out the window. And you can't think critically if you don't question not just authority, but everything. And so, when you're running with your Trump flag and, like, praising him as king, like, you gotta ask yourself why,
Yeah.
And
I definitely agree with that. The people in California, I think half the time they're just saying what they say because that's what all their friends and the people they see on TV are saying. And I think the same thing with the Republicans down in the South. It's like they see that their family is a whole bunch of Trump supporters and stuff, and they just go with what they're doing, They go to church
and you see these, like, college campus videos where, like, oh, Ben Shapiro's going to be here, and they're asking, like, oh, why did you turn out to protest Ben Shapiro? And they're like, well, I've heard of him, and my friend said he's bad. Like, okay, what do you know about Ben Shapiro? Well, nothing really. I've never seen him. I've heard he says a lot of hate speech. And it's like people aren't thinking critically. They're not thinking for themselves. They don't know what they're protesting before they protest it. And it's just, it's ridiculous.
I heard he's one of those little Jew boys with his stupid Jew hat.
He is a Jew boy with his Jew hat, and he does need to think about Christ. That's true. If there's one problem with Ben Shapiro, it's that he needs Jesus. But, we'll work on that. He'll get there. But because Ben Shapiro's got a sharp mind, and he's always thinking about, I think he actually thinks critically. And that's why he's been critical of Trump, because he's not a sheep like a lot of people. But,
I wish he would be more critical of Trump. What we need is more conservatives to talk poorly about Trump, just so the other conservatives will open up their brains and maybe think for a second.
Well, a lot of them are sheep, and like I said, a lot of them don't think critically.
Well, a lot like Ben Shapiro doesn't talk about it that much because he doesn't want to lose
That's
his core
because
fan base.
Ben Shapiro is a lot like me, which is that he'd rather talk about ideas than, individual happenings.
Yeah. But still, I think if you're going to talk about politics, I think it's important to discuss what's going on in the country right now.
Yeah, I guess, but I couldn't tell you what's going on in the country other than we're surrounded by coronavirus and it's there's a big election going on right now.
Yeah.
So besides for that, I can't tell you the big things happening. I can't tell you the latest lawsuit brought up against Trump. I can't. I like talking ideas like this,
Yeah.
So
for sure. Are you worried about coronavirus, Matt?
I mean, I'm young enough, but what I'm worried about is how much I'm going to have to be worried when I'm 60.
If we get one of these every 4 years, then yeah.
Well, but it's not like people aren't living to be 90, so what do they do? We need to figure out what they do.
I think just when you're older, you'll have to, if you were an old person right now, working in retail or at a hotel or something, you would just call out. Me calling out, being afraid of coronavirus, they would be like, shut your fucking mouth, come to work. But if I was an elderly person, I think they would be more like, okay, that's understandable.
I called out the other day because I had a fever, and I was told, don't come to work if you have a fever. And I work in an industry where if you don't show up, they got to call somebody else in.
Yeah.
Or, so I think right now they're taking it seriously, but we don't know enough about the coronavirus. And, so people are kind of in a frenzy, especially in this area because of the whole U.S., there's X number of reported cases, but all the deaths are in our neighborhood.
If we get coronavirus, we need to share it with each other first, and then we need to be quarantined together, and then we gotta make a bunch of videos for Quadrant 4 Politics, making video vlogs, and be like, oh, we have coronavirus, support our channel because we're gonna die, and then we can get a bunch of subscribers that way, and then we'll be famous.
What? Okay, well, why don't we just get coronavirus then?
Well, I don't know where to get it, man. It's like drugs. People were like...
There's one nursing home in Kirkland it's coming from.
Well, do you want to drive up there right now?
We could.
Well, it's quarantined. They won't even let us in.
Well, let's just go say one's our grandma and then make out with her or something.
We want the corona.
I heard a story about this, this chick who can't go visit her mom with dementia. And she doesn't even have any symptoms.
Are you crying?
It's just funny. Her mom doesn't have any symptoms, but she's got dementia, doesn't even know who she is, doesn't get any visitors.
Wow. You're cracked up about this one.
I'm pretty evil.
Wait,
but...
so the grandma has dementia, and the granddaughter is trying to see...
The daughter.
Okay, the daughter of this.
She's like, I want to see my mom who doesn't have coronavirus symptoms, but has dementia and is scared of her own shadow.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, sorry, quarantine.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
And there's 12, at least 12 right now, EMA.
Do you know what's the really funny part is that person's going to get corona and they're going to die alone not knowing anything about what's going on around them.
Still scared of their own shadow.
Yeah, that is probably the most fucked up thing you can think of right there.
That's pretty messed up.
What is this thing I have? Why is it killing me? Who am I? Who are these people? What is this shadow?
Why is there a tent around me? Who are these men in suits? Have we finally been invaded by aliens?
It's like when people put their pets down. A lot of them don't go into the room with their pets to be put down, and the vets always say the animals die scared and alone because they don't know where their owners are and what's happening. Isn't that really fucked up?
I mean, I'm sorry, I cried a little bit there. That was a cry cackle, not a laugh.
Too fucked up for words. Oh, man.
Okay.
Well, let's do one more.
Okay. Well, one more.
Yeah, let's do one from the...
This is 5 questions in one.
I know, this is badass. Look at this.
I don't know if that's good, though. Are we not... Yeah, maybe we are not providing enough substance. I feel a little bit faded.
I don't know if I got high or something.
Did you get high?
No.
How would you have gotten high? You don't even...
I don't know. Maybe there's something in that Red Bull. You liking that bag?
I liked randomness.
All right.
All right. Okay, here we go.
Is it a good one?
No, it's stupid because of how it's worded.
Oh, great.
A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. Let me tell you why
Let
me just tell you why it's stupid, Riley, okay?
Can I read it first?
Let me tell you why it's stupid. I'm going to read it again.
Man, raped. Let me tell you why it's stupid.
A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. Fine, read it.
A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. Oh, I would strongly disagree with this one.
Now, why do you disagree with it?
Well, because having one party pretty much makes us like Russia, where we only have one option pretty much.
But do you notice the rest of the question? It's basing one thing off of another, which is why it's stupid. Like, yes, I would say I absolutely agree. That is one strong benefit of a one-party system. Do I want that? No, because the rest of it...
Oh,
you get what I'm saying, why this is a stupid question?
But I don't think that that's an advantage, though.
You don't have to argue about things. You have one party taking...
I think you're taking that way too literally, maybe.
Well, then who the hell's answering yes to this question? Who's saying agree?
Well, that's the people who want...
Nobody's that authoritarian.
That's the fascists.
Okay, but...
And there are fascists.
Like, that fascist, though?
I'm sure some of the Democrats are like, yeah, we should not have the Republican Party at all. Like, they look at the Republican Party
as... I don't think we should have the Democrat Party, but...
You don't think we should have the Democrat Party? You don't think that they're the counterbalance?
I think we should just have a smarter party. I think we should have two smarter parties. But the point is this question says, in a one-party system, is this an advantage? The answer is yes, it is an advantage, but it's not...
Well, I don't think that is an advantage.
What's the advantage they're talking about?
Let me see. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system.
Yeah, so more bills are going to get passed.
I don't think that's an advantage, though.
Like, yeah, I don't really either. I'm just bitching about this question.
I understand what you're saying, that, yes, if you have a one-party state, then that's not something you need to worry about, but that's not an advantage. That doesn't make that your system better.
Basically, it's saying... it avoids the argument that delays progress.
Because that's pretty much saying that one opinion is better than a bunch of opinions.
Yeah,
whereas
I have to...
the best opinion comes out from a bunch of opinions.
I have to strongly disagree on this one. I just hate the wording, which is why it makes me angry.
It is a very wordy statement.
Well, it's not that it's wordy, it's that it's bad wordy.
Yeah, it is bad wordy.
It's bad wordy.
It's bad wordy like fuck and shit and bitch.
It's like saying, like, you're getting raped in the ass, but you have a lollipop. Do you enjoy having the lollipop? Like, I sure do, but I sure wish I wasn't getting raped in the ass right now. Like,
God, this lollipop is so good, but goddamn, I wish it didn't come with a dick in the ass.
Like, that's what this question is. And that's
what hot sauce is like. Hot sauce is like, man, this is so good, but I know my asshole is going to burn later.
Riley, no, that's not. That's not the same, because hot sauce is gross. Lollipops are...
You don't like hot sauce?
No, I don't. I've already told you, it ruins the experience of the meal.
What if it's good hot sauce, though? Like tasty hot sauce?
I've never had tasty hot sauce, because I just taste the hot, and I don't taste the sauce.
Well, there's hot sauces that don't add very much heat.
Then it's not a hot sauce.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
It adds a tingle. Do you want to feel that tingle?
So anyway, I guess, yes, the lollipop's good, but the rest of the question, no, I don't.
If anything, we should have more parties like they have in Europe.
No, let me tell you why that's also stupid, Riley.
Oh, yeah? Why is that stupid?
Because as we can see what just happened in Canada, like a month ago, or no, it was like a few months ago, they had their election, but what happened is the Prime Minister kept his spot, but because of how they do their elections, they lost their majority, so you have a bunch of parties that do a bunch of infighting, which is what ours do. But one guy on TV was like, I don't care who wins, I just want there to be a majority so stuff gets done.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of have the same problem on the opposite end.
I'm not saying that their system is perfect. I'm just saying I wish that we had more representatives from the different ideas of thinking.
Yeah.
And I don't, this majority idea, I don't like it. I don't like the idea of a prime minister. Like, I don't think there should ever be anyone at the top. I think the top should be a group of people. Like, if we have 50 states, I think that each state should have one person that convenes. Like, get rid of
Like
the
a governors
executive branch.
association.
Get rid of the executive branch and replace the president with one person from each state. So it's like a smaller Senate, and then each person in the state votes on who they want.
Where do you have
position.
that in Congress, though?
Well, we have the Senate, but I'm talking about replacing the executive branch with something that's less.
So maybe just make the
one.
Senate the executive branch.
Well, we
because
could still have a third. Well, because the Senate's 2 people. I'm talking about like one person from each state. I don't know. This is just a crazy idea I'm having, but I think it's ridiculous that we have a 2-party system and it doesn't represent everyone's ideologies. I mean, no one's happy with it. I don't think. I mean, the Bernie Sanders supporters, as we can see, it looks like Biden's going to get the nomination. The Bernie Sanders supporters are going to be really upset about that, and Biden's going to lose because they're not going to support him. And
a bunch of people are Bernie or no one.
Exactly, and a lot of people were Trump or no one, or a lot of people were never Trumpers, and so it's like the Democratic and Republican parties are both pretty split on the way they want to do things.
It's like they're split into 4 right now.
So it'd be nice if we had 4, representatives in the parties at least, and put the Libertarian Party in there, and the Green Party, and all that stuff.
Nobody wants the Libertarian Party.
The Libertarian can split into the more reasonable Libertarians and the anarcho-capitalist Libertarians.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. So it could be like different types.
Yeah. So we got the retard moans and the retard screeches.
Sounds like a whale gun every time the Libertarians walk in the room.
Anyways, I think that is a perfect note to end on.
Alrighty.
It's the screeching.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much for listening to Quadrant 4 Politics. We appreciate you tuning in. Remember all that stuff I said at the beginning of the episode about emailing us and checking us out on YouTube and in the audio-only streaming
Praise
services?
The Lord. Yeah.
Praise the Lord, yeah. Remember all that stuff, do it, and we'll see you in the next one.